So where were we? Right. So we're gonna make this strong. And this is a bit weird. That's what we want. So we want to, okay. So we want to display this with bold. Right. So I guess I'm gonna write strong, then a prince, strong, demigod. Great. What do we have then? Yeah, I guess that's what we will have on the left side. And then on the right side, we're going to have these sections. So I'm gonna say, yeah, about me. Oh yeah, great. So stats, that has a padding of 20. We're gonna use the same padding over here. That's nice. Right. Don't know if you can see this, or I can, but the image is going out of the padding, and that is annoying, and that is because we didn't set up the right border box. That's I'm not gonna go into the detail right now, but that's basically whether okay, I guess I'm gonna go into details about it. So border box is set. Sorry, it's called box sizing, border box, and probably the default is content box. So we want to set it to border box because that means that the width is going to be inclusive of padding and border. So the reason that this image goes out of the padding, which I have specified here, and you can see that there should be 20 pixel padding, is because the border box is set to content box instead of, no, the box sizing is set to content box instead of border box. So the way you normally handle this in a project is you just do this. That is included in every single project of mine. You specify box size in border box on the HTML, and you let everything and all before and after elements inherit it. And that's just something you do. So if I do that and refresh, then ta-da, the image is now following the padding. So that's much better. Right, so what do we want on the right side? I guess we're gonna have some lorem ipsum, just some text. So we're gonna take this first couple of sentences. I'm gonna paste it in here because pasting it in there will make it into just a unstyled text, and we don't want any styles in here. I don't even know if it can take styles, but anyway. So we have pasted it in. Don't want the numbers. Okay. Doesn't matter what the text is, we just want some filler. That's great. Now we need the education. So that's okay. I'm going to call this, gonna make a div which is called details, or maybe I'm just gonna call it a subsection for now. I'm doing this a bit fast, so I'm sorry if it's a bit jumbled, it's probably, I would probably find some better names. Just want to kind of finish so you don't have 2 hours of video to watch. So education, and I'm gonna copy paste this one more time and call that experiences. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. So we have the, yeah, we need probably in the URL image we have P, we have margin and padding we have. Great. So now we just copy pasted the same text 3 times. Okay, so we have the 3 sections. So what we need now is we need a list. We're gonna have a list of education items and a list of experience items. So I'm gonna create that in here. So I'm gonna create this UL with a class of well, they look the same, so I'm gonna call them the same. I'm gonna call it a two column list because it's a 2-column list. And then I'm gonna call this a actually just gonna call this a call list because I want to keep it as short as possible. So I'm gonna call this a call list item, and this naming convention, this underscore is following the principles of something called BEM. Yeah, BEM naming convention. That's what it's called. Look into it. This is like a component based approach. It makes your life so much easier. I can really recommend it. But yeah, basically what it means is that item is the child of this. It's an element within this block. Yeah. So in this list element, I need I guess I'm going to write 2 paragraphs. That would make sense. So I'm gonna call this a call list well, a prop list year, and the other one, oh, I'm just gonna copy paste it, the call list detail. Right, so in here, just gonna say education, right? So let's say it was 1990 to 1994, and the detail was Harvard University, USA, whatever, doesn't matter. Let's see how that looks. So now we created this list. We don't actually need the background anymore. I guess we could give it some bit nicer backgrounds. I like gradient UI. Don't know if you know this site. It has some nice gradients. I'm not going to use the gradient now, but it can also get some nice colors. I like that. Nice and dull. That's very suitable. So I'm just gonna use that color instead. Let's see how that looks. Probably not that great with the blue. And then we'll take the other one and use that instead of the blue one. That's pretty horrible, but actually we're gonna try something else. I can show you a nice feature of the DevTools. So here, if you click on this little color icon, then you can see that this is a hex color, but I can actually change it to an RGBA, and that will convert it to an RGBA color for me. And here, if I can just change the alpha, which is the transparency, that is kind of nice. So I'm just gonna go with 25 here, and then I can just copy and paste the color instead of the other one, and do the same with this one. So click on this, get alpha 25, great, enter, copy and paste the color. We don't need the hex. So yeah, I guess that's a little nicer anyway. We can also maybe change the font to something nicer. So sans serif default fonts. Yeah, we'll just take Helvetica. We want the web safe font because that will work everywhere on all browsers. So yeah, just gonna go with Helvetica for now. So on the body, just gonna say font size, FZ tab, Helvetica, sans serif. So that's a backup if Helvetica isn't defined or installed on the operating system or the computer you're opening it from. So okay, what's happening? Maybe I messed. Oh yeah, of course that shouldn't be font size, should be font family. I hope you caught that before me. Okay, great. Okay, I think you remember that I wrapped these sections into a div, which is with the class subsection. That actually does something super good for us. We can say that we want all these sections to have a margin bottom of something, so this can help us separate the sections. So I'm just gonna give it some white space. I'm gonna give them a margin bottom. Right, so that was the subsection. Subsection margin bottom 60, and if I do this, then you can see that my last item will also get it, which kind of messes up the padding that I'm trying to use on this section. So I'm just going to say that yeah, I'm not using CSS, so I need to use pure CSS, and that way I'm just gonna say last child margin bottom 0. So that will select the last child with the subsection which is a last child in the container. So for example, here this is the container, and it has 3 subsections, and the last child will be targeted here. So if I refresh, then the margin bottom disappears from the last one. So these two have it, but not the last one. And you can also see that this has a margin bottom 60, but gets overwritten by the more specific, and that's the strong suit of CSS, the more specific declaration. This is something that can help you or something that can trip you up. So if you do it smart, then it can help you. All right, so what we need to do now is to style our list so that it's next to each other, right? And we don't don't want the list, the bullet point to be there. So I'm gonna try to hurry up so this won't last that much longer. But yeah, I'm just gonna copy paste this one so we have 2 list items to mess around with. Right, so we want, I think I'm just gonna do it here, then it's easier for you to see. So we select the UL, and there is something called list style none that will remove the bullet points. Then by default in browsers, differently in different browsers, unless you use CSS reset, which will reset all default browser styling, all margins and paddings and stuff like that, or normalize CSS. That's another one that will just make it the same in every browser. Reset will remove everything. So unless you use something like that, then you need to manually say margin, or sorry, it's actually a padding. So I need to say padding 0 on my list so that it doesn't have some left padding over there. Great. So now that I have done this, I'm gonna copy and paste it in here. So I'm just gonna say call, I don't know why it's complaining. Just gonna do it like this, call list styles, because now it's gonna be all call list related things. So now we have that. Then we also need to style the call list item. Right. So the call list item is going to be flex again because its children need to be two column in 2 columns. So I'm going to say in here, if I click on new style rule, then it's going to automatically select this element for me, which is very useful, but it's kind of dumb. So I need to correct it. So I don't want it to select the HTML tag, but just the class. So I'm going to say I want it to display flex. So you can see that right away turns this into a 2 column, actually as many columns as there are children layout. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this into my code. And now what I need to do is basically style these themselves. So I want again, I don't want the HTML elements, just the class selector. So I want this to have a margin right of 20 pixels separated, and I guess, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's keep it like that right now. Oh, and I need to copy paste the whole thing. Yeah, and then the detail, is it called detail? Yeah, I want that. It's probably would have been smarter that this was a div, but now we're not gonna add that much information. But if this was a div, then that would be a bit easier for us to do the layout with. But now I'm gonna say select this, don't want the HTML element, and then I want this to have a color of, just write something random, and then I'm gonna select it here to see what fits. Well, I don't want this to be too light so that it's still readable. But yeah, that will do. Yeah, I guess that's what we do. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. So go back. I need the whole thing. All right. So if I refresh, now it looks pretty. Okay, so I'm just gonna fill in some dummy stuff. So in here, okay, so what does this say? The first list, learning strategies. No, I'm not gonna yet write that, but it say so education from most recent to oldest, from most recent to oldest. So education, we're gonna say this one has to be more recent. So we're gonna say 1994 to 96 and or 98, and this one is going to be, I don't know, some high school. Is there Harvard High School? I'm not sure. Just gonna do it anyway. And that's probably not how you write where you have studied, but I'm too lazy at this point. And then we just need the experience. Okay, so we have the list, this same list we can reuse for the experience. And it's not called experiences, it's called experience. So let's see. Wow, that's wonderful. So we'll say so if I finished studying there, then I'm just gonna say I worked here till 2000. Company name. Company name. And we'll reuse this. Thank God for prettier. So 1998, 2000, and then 2000 to 2004. Company name. I guess that experience would make sense. It was the first one before education because it's more relevant to your job. Maybe it's fine to put some spacing so you can see what belongs together. Let's put some more experience in there and more. Okay, you can see that I can just paste in any sort of mumbo jumbo and it will correct, like it will just correct it for me because of prettier. It's so nice. So yeah, great. I'm not very creative today, so I'm really sorry about that. So yeah, this is not responsive, but that's probably gonna be covered later on. Do I need anything else? There's an image, a paragraph, UL, H1, H2, margin padding. Well, oh yeah. So it looks nice. It's accessible. Probably the contrast is not big enough here. That's an accessibility thing, that the color contrast should be huge. And then we should check the files with the HTML validator. So let's just do that. You can actually, if you don't select anything and you right click and you say view page source, then you can Control A and copy, Control C, everything. Then you can say direct input. So that will take the whole HTML of your page. And then you can check to see if it's valid. Well, no errors or warnings, so That was lucky. It would have been embarrassing if there were any. Great. And then, so how do I hand in? So now I guess I need to upload the files to the hand in. So what I'm gonna do is gonna open HTML CSS week 1 and I'm gonna upload the files that I need. So I have saved this one. I have saved that one. That one I don't need. So I go to my Finder and close the other stuff. So basically I just select everything, drop it in. And I'm gonna call this add CV. Done. So it's processing the files. And now you can see that there are 2 commits. And if I click here, you can see all the changes, everything that I have added. So yeah, the PNG, it's not shown, but, or maybe it is. Yeah, it will show now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.